Welcome to the Daily Decant, your 5-minute briefing on the world of wine. Each episode delivers practical insights to help you choose, order, and talk about wine with more confidence in everyday social settings. Let's get into today's decant. Yesterday we laid the map, today we go north and we go deep. The Northern Rhône has 2 appellations that sit above all the others in prestige, in price, and in the conversation about what Syrah is capable of. Those 2 appellations are Côte-Rôtie and Hermitage. They're neighbors geographically, but they produce wines with very different personalities, and understanding that difference is the key to understanding what the Northern Rhône actually is. Let's start with Côte-Rôtie, which translates literally to the roasted slope. The name tells you everything about the place. The vineyards face south and southeast on the granite hillsides, so steep and sun-exposed that the heat is almost brutal in the summer. The vines have to dig deep into the rock to find water and nutrients, and that struggle shows up in the wines at concentration and complexity that flatland farming simply cannot produce. What makes Côte-Rôtie genuinely unusual among serious red wine appellations is that it permits, and in its finest expressions actually encourages, the co-fermentation of a white grape along the Syrah. That white grape is Viognier, and up to 20% of it can be included in a Côte-Rôtie blend. And what does Viognier do to a Syrah? It softens the tannins, adds a floral lift, and gives the wine a texture and aromatic quality that pure Syrah does not have. Not every producer uses it, but the ones who do, and the best examples from the 2 famous subzones, the Côte Brune and the Côte Blonde, produce wines of extraordinary delicacy and complexity. The producer most associated with Côte-Rôtie at the very top level is Marcel Guigal. His 3 single vineyard wines, known collectively as La 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 for their names, La Mouline, La Landon, and La Turque, are among the most sought after and expensive wines in all of France. They are also aged for over 40 months in new oak before release, which gives them a profile of their own. But Guigal also makes an estate-level Côte-Rôtie that is far more accessible and still excellent. That is the one to look for. Now, 20 kilometers to the south sits the hill of Hermitage. This is a single granite hill rising from the left bank of the Rhône, and it's one of the most historically important wine sites in the world. Wines have been made on this hill for at least 2,000 years. In the 18th and 19th centuries, Hermitage was considered one of the finest wines in all of Europe, often fetching higher prices than first-growth Bordeaux. Hermitage Syrah is different from Côte-Rôtie. No Viognier is permitted in the red wines here. What you get instead is pure Syrah from old wines on granite and limestone soils, producing wines of extraordinary power, density, and aging potential. The great Hermitage needs time, serious time. A young Hermitage from a top producer can be almost impenetrable for the first decades of its life. What it becomes with 20 or 30 years of cellaring is something that wine lovers talk about for the rest of their lives. The name to know here above all others is Paul Zaboulay-Ané, and specifically their wine La Chapelle, named for the small chapel that sits atop the Hermitage Hill. The 1961 La Chapelle is one of the most legendary bottles in all of wine history. The estate went through a difficult period in the 1990s and early 2000s, but under new ownership since 2006, it has returned to form. Other top producers on the hill include Chapoutier and Jean-Louis Sauve, whose Hermitage is widely considered among the finest wines in France year after year. Practical note is that genuine Côte-Rôtie and Hermitage from the top producers will cost you. Expect to spend at least $80 to $150 or more for a serious bottle. But tomorrow's episode is all about the appellations that give you most of that experience at a fraction of the price. Stay tuned. So that's today's Daily Decant. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends so you can continue building your wine knowledge in just a few minutes a day. See you tomorrow for your next decant.